Salvete omnes! In this lesson, we will learn about grammatical gender and adjectives. Before watching this video, please read pages 24 through 28 in your textbook. This lesson will cover the following concepts: grammatical gender, forming second declension neuter nouns, adjectives and noun-adjective agreement, and what to do about gender inclusivity in Latin. In Latin, there are many ways to categorize nouns. So far, we have learned about declensions, groupings of nouns based on patterns in their morphology. Another such way to classify nouns is by grammatical gender. All nouns in Latin are classified as one of three genders: masculine, feminine, or neuter. Some nouns, such as canis, dog, are considered common nouns because they can be either masculine or feminine, depending on the context. As mentioned in the last video lesson, a word's grammatical gender is included in its lemma and is important to learn alongside its definition. To help you out on this front, I will share some patterns when it comes to grammatical gender. If these patterns make things more confusing for you, feel free to disregard them so long as you find another way to learn the genders of your vocabulary words. Also note that there are exceptions to most of these patterns, but they are still useful. Most first and fifth declension nouns are feminine, like puella here on the right. Otherwise, words in the following categories tend to be feminine, regardless of their declension: trees and other plants, locations, animals, especially birds, gems, abstract concepts, and quote-unquote naturally female words, such as femina, woman. Many second and fourth declension nouns are masculine, like amicus here on the right. Otherwise, words in the following categories tend to be masculine regardless of their declension: occupations, family names, rivers and mountains, winds, months, and quote-unquote naturally male words like weir, man. What about neuter nouns? Neuter nouns make up a significant portion of second, third, and fourth declension nouns. We only know the second declension, so don't worry about the others just yet. Second declension neuter nouns only differ in morphology from second declension masculine nouns with respect to their nominative, accusative, and vocative case endings, which also happen to be the only cases we currently know. Take bellum, war, a second declension neuter noun, compared to amicus, friend, a second declension masculine noun. Nominative singular bellum, accusative singular bellum, vocative singular bellum, nominative plural bella, accusative plural bella, vocative plural bella. What patterns do you notice? Perhaps most obvious is the fact that the nominative, accusative, and vocative singular endings for the neuter second declension are all the same, likewise in the plural. This will always be true no matter the declension. It should also be noted that the accusative singular endings are the same for both neuter and masculine second declension nouns. So why does any of this matter? Knowing a noun's grammatical gender matters because in order for an adjective to modify a noun, it must match the noun's gender, case, and number. This is called agreement. In other words, when a noun and adjective have the same gender, case, and number, we say that they agree with each other. Just like nouns, adjectives will change in morphology depending on their gender, case, and number, and are also divided into declensions. Thankfully, adjectives can only be either first or second declension or third declension, and the endings for each declension are nearly identical to their noun counterparts. We don't know the third declension yet, so don't worry about it. The lemma for first and second declension adjectives will always follow the same format: masculine second declension nominative singular, feminine first declension nominative singular, and neuter second declension nominative singular, as in bonus, bona, bonum. Sometimes the feminine and neuter forms will be abbreviated to just their nominative singular endings, a and as in bonus a Here is bonus, good, declined in the feminine, masculine, and neuter in each of the three cases we already know. Bona, bonum, bona, bonai, bonas, bonai, bonus, bonum, bone, boni, bonos, boni, bonum, 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 bona, bona, bona. Now let's practice noun-adjective agreement. Remember, nouns and adjectives must agree in gender, case, and number. Decline magnus a big, so that it can modify equum. Equum is masculine accusative singular, so magnus must also be masculine accusative singular. In this case, the appropriate form is magnum. Decline novus a new, so that it can modify poetas. Poetas is masculine accusative plural, so novus must also be masculine accusative plural. In this case, the appropriate form is novos. Note that although poetas and novos do not have the same ending, they still agree in gender, case, and number. Fun fact, Catullus, one of my favorite Latin poets, is part of a group of experimental anti-establishment poets of the mid-1st century BCE called the Poetae Novi. We will get to know Catullus later in the semester. One last practice exercise. Decline tuus a your, so that it can modify puellae. Puellae is feminine, nominative, or vocative plural, so tuus must also be feminine, nominative, or vocative plural. In this case, the appropriate form is tuae. So just exactly how are you supposed to know what case a noun or adjective is when some cases have the same endings? The answer may shock you. Just kidding. The answer is context. Another fun fact. Catullus is probably best known for his love poetry, addressed to a woman he names Lesbia, or simply Puella. Puella in Latin most often means girl, but it can also have the same romantic and sexual connotations that girlfriend has in English. Amica, the literal word for female friend, functions similarly. Before ending this video, I want to address the topic of gender inclusivity as it relates to Latin. Although many Latin authors and grammarians were deeply interested in the grammatical gender of nouns, and some poets, including Catullus, were known to play with the fluidity of grammatical gender, the three-gender system in Latin does not quite accommodate a plurality of gender identities. To address this issue, a spoken Latin group called Lupercal, in partnership with the organization Trans in Classics, came up with a style guide for gender inclusivity in the Latin language. There will be times that I will ask you how you are doing in Latin at the beginning of class, and I will expect you to respond in Latin. If you do not feel comfortable using the existing masculine, feminine, or neuter endings to describe yourself, please feel free to use the gender-neutral endings in this guide, which is posted under the Week 2 tab on Moodle. Pat yourself on the back. You now have a foundational understanding of the three most important parts of speech in Latin. We will be building upon these concepts for the rest of the semester, so buckle up. Hopefully the ride won't be so bumpy. That said, Waleta!